All right, where are we? Let's see here. There we are. Hey, how is everyone doing? My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is our Wednesday night portrait class. We always get together on Wednesday nights and draw a portrait together. Oh, step by step. It usually takes about 40 minutes, and we try and keep it under 40 minutes there. And I am glad that you're here. So we got some of our regulars in the house. I can see it. There's AJ and Cindy are here. Who else? Nanette and Patty. Great to have you. Everyone else who's going to take a look at this later on, well, I'm glad that you're here. Let's go over a couple things before we start drawing a portrait. If you're brand new, I have four what I call the tools of proportion. And these are things that you could do to help lock your picture, get your proportions right. They are using horizontal alignments, vertical alignments, negative shape, and cartoon check. And during today's portrait, I will go over all four of these tools to help you lock in your proportion. Okay, so keep that in mind. And just a side note of drawing portraits. It's one of the hardest things that anyone can. I think it's one of the hardest things that as an artist you can attempt. So it's going to take a while. So don't be so hard on yourself. The only way you're going to get good at doing this is doing exactly what you're doing right now. Watching videos, practice over and over again. If you commit to it, I think you can really see a lot of improvement over the course of time. How long will it take? I would say if you drew a portrait once a week, spend 40 minutes, half an hour to 40 minutes on a portrait once a week, you could see a lot of change probably within a year. So you can do it. I did it. So just keep pressing forward. All right, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I like to use a Crayola pencil. It has a kind of a wax. It's a little bit on the waxy side, so I don't erase much. And with that being said, I will try and draw as light as possible, right in the very beginning. So let's go ahead and just start kind of with a sphere. And this can be any, just throw a sphere down. It doesn't have to be exact. And this girl here we are looking down at her. So she's like, her head's looking down. You see that? So when I get my portrait here, first thing I want to look for is the temple. I usually use my temple. So if I'm going to come down here and kind of place the temple on this head here, I'm going to put it right about there, I think. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to draw the brow line. The brow line connects the temples together. So this is pretty important. So let's get the angle right here. Get this angle right. Okay. Next thing I want to look for is where is the glabella. That's the center. That's the very center. Now, it's not going to be, especially in a portrait where it's a 3/4 view, you will see that this is a dead center. It's off a little bit. So dead center for me would be right here, but I'm going to push that over just a little bit. All right, and we'll drop down the center line here. And I can already see a mistake that I've made. Look at that, right off the bat. Is that exciting? After all these years, I've made this. I knew it. As soon as I put this angle down, I made that angle too sharp. So look at this. So right away, I'm just going to draw right on top of my picture here. I don't think I can erase. It comes up a little bit. Well, hit that up just a bit. Okay, there. I thought I'm supposed to be the expert here. So, all right, so we've got this. This is called the T of the face, all right? Right here at the temple, let's just kind of come in here and get our side of the head there, okay? Our flat side of the head. From the glabella, let's establish where the nose is going to be. And now in her case, she has a very long nose. So if I look at our picture from here to here, that's the distance of the temple. But then her nose is going to be a little bit longer. I think her nose is going to go all the way down to here. And typically it's the distance from the glabella to the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin. These are usually equal, but because she's looking like this, it's going to foreshorten that just a little bit. So the distance from underneath her nose down to her chin is not going to be as great. So let's see. Let's come down maybe about there. All right. Very good. All right, so coming over here to her temple, look now, this is going to be about the side. This turns a corner and that becomes very flat along the side of her head there. And then I take this center line, this angle here, and I kind of repeat it in that same angle right over here, just like that. All right, so we'll leave that there. Now let's come down and get, this is, her eyebrows are gonna go roughly through that. That's why we call it the brow line. Let's come down here and then and kind of get her eye line. Okay. All right, moving right along. I'm going to come down here and work out her nose. And her nose has like three parts to it. It's like the center part and then the two wings. Do you see that? And one wing we could see a lot of, but the other one we can't see as much because it's behind. So let's start with the center ball. So I'm just going to kind of come in here. All right, create a little ball. And there's a little bit of a shadow underneath this thing like this. All right, look at this. There's one wing of the nose. It's not, you could just kind of see it creeping around, right? And then on this side here, now this is like a little, it's like a little hook. Let me hold this up to the camera so you can see it. Okay. In fact, I think I can make this a little bit bigger. There you go. All right. We'll make that smaller when we need to. Okay, so there's our nose. Let's get the philtrum. Philtrum is this little gap in between the nose and up to the lip there. You see that? And it usually lines up right on the either side of the interior of the nose. So look, I'm just going to come down and it's, I'm really kind of following this angle here because that's my center line. And I want to make sure all of these angles here are all going to be parallel. All right, so we're going to come down a little bit, and then we put a slight U. So earlier I spoke of this idea of using horizontal, vertical, negative shape, and cartoon check. Let's take a look at a vertical alignment right now. So if I look at the wing of her nose, okay, and I draw a straight line coming down here, you could see like the corner of her mouth almost lines up just to the outside. So let's put that in. I'm just gonna put a little dot there. Now where does the other corner of her mouth ride? Right? I'm gonna come right across here. It's right to the outside. Right to the outside. You see that? All right, now we're going to connect those two like this, and then this is coming real short. And her lips are pretty flat. They're not, she doesn't have, her lips aren't terribly full lips. So that keeps them a very flat shape, which is fine. We're going to just come right across like that. Now her bottom lip is a little bit more fuller, but let's take a look close here. Look at this corner right here. This is coming out a little bit further, and these are the little details you want to make sure you nail down. Here's the corner coming out. And then that bottom lip, make sure you get that position just right. I'll hold this up for you in just a second. Okay. Top lip usually has a little bit of value to it, just like this. And even this over here has darker value. And usually the corners of the lips are really dark value. Same thing on this side here. Okay. Okay, let's keep going here. There's a little bit of, usually people have a little bit of shadow underneath their bottom lip there. And then we can draw the line, at least the line down here for her chin for right now. We'll come back and work that out in just a second. Okay, next alignment, let's move up to her tear ducts, okay? Tear ducts. Now let's use a horizontal alignment. And this horizontal alignment lines up right with the wing here, going straight up here. Straight up, you see that? And I'm gonna I think I put my eyes just a little too low there. So we got that one there. What about the other one? Okay, that lines up maybe just right there. And it's not directly across. It's got to be a little higher because of the angle that we're looking at. We usually will take this distance. And this gives you the distance of the eye, but a 3/4 view can kind of be deceptive a little bit. So we'll come over here like this. This is the width of this eye. And then this one, I'm going to stretch it just a little bit. I'm going to go that and then push it just a hair longer. And I can see from our picture that her eyes are coming in at this angle. All right. Let's go ahead and get this upper eyelid. And now this one's going to be foreshortened. That means it's a little bit shorter. Okay, I'm going to come around and you don't want to mirror these two. You want to give them a little bit of variation. And then let's get this pupil in. Now, you can't really see much of the you can't see the iris. I had a question. Did you ever, when you were younger, get formal training on how to sketch and draw? Oh, great question. When I was younger, I learned, my mom sent me to, when I was like under 10 years old, I took a class from, let's see if I have the book up there. No. I took a class from a guy named Bruce McIntyre, and he had this thing called Secret City, and one of his students was Mark Kunstler. Some of you may have seen some of his videos online, but he was a student of Bruce McIntyre. But I was pretty young then. What really changed for me was I really didn't get focused of art until I was in my 20s. And then I got serious about it. And at the time I lived in Los Angeles, or in Orange County, and I was able to drive up to Hollywood and actually learn from I'll tell you, he changed my life. A guy by the name of I can't believe I forgot it. Carl Ganas. And Carl was mainly taught at the animation studios. So, anyways, he was the one that really made the big impression on my life. But it was not in college, because I goofed around in college and I just didn't take drawing as serious. And when I say that, what that meant is I was unwilling to practice. I did zero practice. And that was a game changer for me when I actually sat down and started to put the time in. Maybe that was too much information. There's another guy who I don't know if I actually I may have taken one class, and his name was Glenn Villapoo. Glenn Villapoo. All these guys are still around. I don't know if Glenn is I don't know if Glenn is still alive, but they all taught at a place called the Animators Union in Hollywood. And that was a game changer. Don't leave the whites up. Make sure you add some tone and value to the whites of your eyes. And by the way, if you like this video, man, I'll tell you, I could really use a like, and please leave a comment. Leave a comment and let me know where you have learned your drawing. If it's all just been through books or whatnot. There was one, if you've ever read Maxwell Gladwell's book, the outliers. That was a game changer too for me when I realized that in order to get good at this craft, it's going to take 10,000 hours. I'm sure you've heard that phrase before. Um, and there's a lot of truth in that. Drawing is drawing an art is something that you do, if you want to find success at, you do need to put the time in. We have a class, or we have a Facebook group that you might be interested in joining. If you're not, I will put a link in the comments to check that out as soon as we're done here. Okay, let's see. Come over here. But you know what? Here's the great thing. I'm just talking here. Look at the shadow here. Look at the shadows going around the eye. You know, we live in the age now of there are so many drawing resources out there. So many. And it is a great time to want to learn how to draw, because there are so many resources. You literally do not have to leave your bedroom to actually learn this. And where some things were inaccessible, they're totally available now. In fact, I think you can even find Carl's stuff online. All right. I'm just kind of, what I'm doing right now is I've got some of these features in place, and I'm just kind of adding some tone to work out. Thinking of the structure here. So look at this jaw coming in here, and we know it's the jaw because of the light. Look at this. It's coming. What's the angle? Look at it. It's coming right down like this. You see that? And then we've got her cheek over here like this. And so as you're doing this, just, you know, it's really so much of what we do here is just repetition, drawing things over and over again. Now, check this out. Look how off I'm. This is where I'm off. I've got to make an adjustment here. I'm seeing from the corner of her eye to this is the back of the head, and this is way too long. Okay, if you look at the picture, if I take a measurement from corner of her eye to her nose, this distance right here, look closely at the picture. That is really the back of the head for me. So the back of her head is like way over here. You see that? See how off I'm at? So let's see. Let's come down. Always making adjustments. Let's come down here to the corner of her jaw. Right there. It lines up with her nose. And then this is going to sweep around to her chin. You see that? Now let's come over here and look at this one. Look, this is coming out to her cheekbone. Where's the cheekbone? Cheekbone's like right in there. All right, there we go. Okay, so this is an interesting thing. Now I'm looking at this, and I'm going to use the cartoon check. If I look at my picture, then look at the picture, and then look at my drawing, and I take my eyes and I jump back and forth, I could see if this is slightly angled just a bit. Look at that. And I could also see right away using the cartoon check that I actually put my two eyes a little too close together. You see that? So you're constantly like double checking yourself. And if you're off, hey, that's okay. Totally okay. Don't overthink this. We're supposed to have fun. Seriously, have fun. All right. All right, there's her ear right there. Okay, where does the part of her head? Where does the part of her hair? So let's see. I'm gonna come right up, maybe right about there. And then this is going to be almost a straight line. It's like a curve. See that? And then let's use a contour. Contour is just simply an outline of something. The hard thing about drawing, and this is where you really are training yourself to get your eye-hand coordination. Boy, I'll tell you that, and that just training your eyes to do what you're trying to get your pencils to do. That is probably one of the hardest things. So we do that just by repetition and keep checking your measurements. Even if you are new, just keep checking. It will take time. That's why it takes so long to learn how to draw, because you're trying to create those connections in your head, and that just doesn't happen overnight. Okay, where's her neck come in place? Her neck's coming right there. Look at this negative, look at this right here. Look at that negative shape. What's this negative shape here? What's that shape? I'm trying to match the shape. That's not too bad. That's a good shape right there, right? And then her braid is coming down, and where does this shoulder here? If I extend this out? Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm looking at this whole shape here, trying to get this whole shape. All right, let's see here. The other thing too is once you get this down, it becomes a lot more fun. I mean, I still get frustrated when I look at my work, and it's oftentimes that I will leave the studio disappointed. But then when I get fresh eyes in the morning, look at this, check this out. It's a little darker value here than right here, because you're going to get this really lovely coarse shadow. This is a coarse shadow going on there. Look at this. This should all be dark value here. Because when you start getting good and you can start pulling this stuff off with regularity, look at this highlight, the highlight in her hair right here. So I'm just going to leave the white of the paper for right now. And then come up here, look at this. This is going to be also highlight. And when I'm drawing her hair, I'm not thinking flat. I'm thinking almost like it's a sculpture. See, one thing I already have noticed in my drawing that's different is I've drawn her face almost looking straight at us, versus the way that the picture is, where she's looking down. Can you see the difference? So you never stop learning. You never stop learning. If you want, when I was, one of the things that I really struggled with, of course, was just consistency. And I have a class that we meet every day for half an hour, and it's called the Daily Draw. I'll put a link for that in the comments as well. If you're interested, you might want to check that out. Mondays we look at things that are natural. Tuesdays we look at things that are man-made. We drew this hunter's cabin yesterday. Wednesdays, it's always portrait. We're right in the middle of learning how to draw hair. Thursdays is always character design. And Fridays, animals. So if you have a problem staying consistent drawing, yeah, I come in live every day and we spend about 40 minutes. And boy, I'll tell you, if you can pull that off, you're gonna really see yourself get better and better every day. So let's see here now. I remember when I first started learning how to draw portraits, this saying always is construction leads to likeness. Don't ever try and draw the likeness of a person. Just go with the construction of the face. Understand the basic where the jawline is, how the nose is. I used to have. Oh, let's see if it's here. Is it right there? Sometimes, you know me, I keep things around forever. Let's see if it's down here. Maybe. Hold on. I'm going to show you something. Ugh. Look, here's all these different practice things from over the years. I've got a whole bunch. So, you know, you might look at just practicing quick little doodles of faces. Things like that will help you. I don't know what's in this pile. These are actually, I think a lot of them from the Daily Draw. But yeah, like here's a construction right there, where you just start basically putting your head together and you start working out the different proportions. Let's see here. I'm just seeing if it's not my notes. Okay. Nope. I was looking for something specific, but I don't have it in front of me. Nope. Okay. We're gonna move this stuff off. My point is to persevere and just keep going at it. You'll get it. I guarantee you'll get it. This is not talent. It's perseverance. Perseverance will always win when you are drawing. Talent, I don't even know what talent is. I think talent is just something like I would call a talent a desire. He has a desire. That's talent to me. What's key is if you is the person who practices. That will make all the difference in the world. I think it's a good way to. This is coming out quite nicely, and I think that's a good way. Look at this. One thing I want to do really quickly before I sign off is I want to darken this. I want to darken her shadow under here. And then look at this. She has this cord. Look at this. Shadow comes down like this. How did I miss this? But she has look at this. There's a little bit of rim. There's a little bit of light. Right there. You see that? We don't want to lose that. There you go. How about that? That's looking much better now. Okay, that's it. I think we got it. I hope you found that helpful. I did more talking than teaching maybe, but hope you gained something from that all. Persevere. You got this, all right? Hey, thanks for watching, everyone. My name is Kurt.